What if I told you billionaires don't work harder than you? Not smarter, not longer. Just different. There's a silent war going on, not in boardrooms or stock markets, but inside the human brain. And the winners, they've found a way to control their minds like most people can't even imagine. This isn't about meditation or morning routines. It's something deeper, darker. They use a psychological switch, so simple it sounds fake, that rewires how they see the world. Fear,
Gone out?
silenced. Regret, ignored. But here's the real question. Would you do whatever it takes to win, even if it meant becoming someone else? This is the brain hack no one talks about. Because once you change your mind this way, you never go back. They don't talk about it in TED Talks. They don't teach it in schools. And if you ask them directly, they'll deny it ever happened. But something changes inside the minds of those who rise to the top. Not just once, but again and again. It's not luck. It's not timing. It's a mental switch that billionaires flip, often without even realizing it. Most people believe success comes from hard work, talent, or the right connections. But what if I told you that the most powerful tool in their arsenal isn't visible at all? It lives between their ears. This brain hack, it rewires how they see risk, failure, and even themselves. It lets them walk into chaos and come out richer. It turns fear into fuel. And here's the uncomfortable truth. You already have access to it. The only difference is, you've been taught to ignore it, suppress it, even fear it. So now I ask you, what if everything you've been told about success was designed to keep you exactly where you are? Would you be willing to unlearn it all, just to find out what's really possible? You've been told to set goals, to visualize success, to believe in yourself. But what if that's the exact reason you're stuck? Calm, most people chase success like it's a straight path. Work hard, stay positive, and eventually you'll make it. That's the lie we grow up with. The truth, it doesn't work. Because real power doesn't come from effort alone. It comes from control of your mind, your emotions, and even the people around you. Billionaires don't follow the same rules. They've stopped trying to believe their way to success. Instead, they've learned how to rewire themselves. This isn't magic. It's neuroscience. Your brain is built to survive, not to win. It fears failure. It clings to comfort. It fights change, even when change is exactly what you want. But there's a psychological shortcut, a way to bypass fear, silence doubt, and reprogram your instincts. Some call it emotional detachment, others cognitive suppression. Whatever you call it, it's the secret weapon of the world's most powerful minds. Think of it like this. While most people are trying to motivate themselves through pain and hope, billionaires have flipped a switch. They no longer react emotionally to loss, rejection, or even guilt. And because they don't feel the same way you do, they don't act the same way either. Dark psychology calls this the cold cognition state, where logic overrides emotion completely. Some use it to negotiate billion-dollar deals, others to walk away from relationships, families, even their own pasts. It's not taught in schools. It's not shared on motivational posters. Because once you learn how to stop feeling like everyone else, you stop thinking like them too. And that's when the real game begins. Let me tell you about someone who looked just like you. He was smart, hardworking, driven. But no matter how hard he tried, success kept slipping through his fingers. His name was Daniel, a regular guy with big dreams. He worked long hours, read every self-help book, chased every productivity hack. Still, nothing stuck. He watched people with less experience than him rise faster. He saw others make it look easy. While he burned out trying, Daniel wasn't lazy. He was just playing by the rules everyone else believed in. Work harder, stay positive, visualize success, believe in yourself. That's what they told him. So he did, until one day everything changed. It started with a conversation, not with a coach, not with a mentor, but with a man he met at a bar. Older, quiet, watchful, the kind of person who doesn't say much, but when he does, you listen. They talked about failure, about pressure, about what it really takes to win. And then the man said something Daniel would never forget. You're still thinking like a human, the ones at the top. They stopped doing that a long time ago. Daniel laughed, thought it was a joke, but the man didn't smile back. Instead, he leaned in and sighed. There's a switch inside your brain. Flip it, and you start seeing the world differently. Fear becomes noise. Regret becomes weight. You stop reacting and start controlling. Daniel didn't understand what he meant. Not at first, but curiosity got the better of him. Over the next few weeks, he dug deeper, spoke to more people, read between the lines, and slowly, he began to see a pattern. People at the very top didn't feel the same way the rest of us do. They didn't panic when things went wrong. They didn't get angry when betrayed. They didn't even mourn losses the way most people do. It wasn't that they were heartless. It was that they had trained their brains to stop reacting emotionally and start responding strategically. Daniel realized this wasn't some secret society or ancient ritual. It was a psychological shift, one anyone could make if they were willing to let go of what made them human. So he to try. At first, it felt unnatural. When his girlfriend broke up with him, he didn't cry, he didn't rage. He simply observed the pain and let it pass. When he lost a promotion he'd worked months for, he didn't spiral into self-doubt. He asked one question: what can I control here? And when his best friend betrayed him, instead of cutting ties in anger, he stayed calm and saw the betrayal for what it was: a lesson. This wasn't coldness, it was clarity. And with each passing week, Daniel began to change. He became sharper, more focused, less distracted by drama, emotion, or ego. People noticed. He started getting opportunities he never used to get. Stood deals that once slipped away now landed in his lap. He negotiated better, thought clearer under pressure, made decisions without hesitation. He wasn't smarter, he wasn't luckier. He was just different. And then came the moment that changed everything. An investor meeting, just a small group, a quiet room, no cameras, no hype. Daniel walked in last, sat down, waited. The other entrepreneurs pitched wildly, tears, passion, desperation, all wrapped in flashy slides and shaky voices. Then it was his turn. He stood up and said nothing at first, just looked at them, then spoke. "I'm not here to sell you a dream," he said. "I'm here to show you numbers. And if you want in, we move fast. If not, I'll be gone in 5 minutes." Silence filled the room. Then one of the investors smiled. "You remind me of someone I used to know." And just like that, the deal was his. Millions poured into his company. Everything changed. For the first time in his life, Daniel wasn't chasing success. Success was chasing him. He had flipped the switch. But as the months passed, something else started to happen. He noticed it slowly. Friends stopped calling. Colleagues respected him, but feared him too. Even his own mother said, "You've changed." He knew she meant it as concern, but in his mind, he thought good. Because now he could see clearly. Now he could win. Now he could finally be free. But freedom comes at a cost, and Daniel hadn't realized yet that the price wasn't just paid in effort, it was paid in pieces of himself, pieces he might never get back. Daniel had everything he ever wanted: money, power, control, but something felt off. It started with small things. He stopped recognizing his own reflection, not physically, but emotionally. He could look at himself in the mirror and feel nothing. No pride, no joy, no fear, just silence. At first, he thought it was a sign of strength. After all, wasn't that the point? To stop being ruled by emotions? But then came the loneliness. Not the kind you feel when you're alone, the kind you feel when you realize no one truly knows you anymore. Friends drifted away. Family stopped calling. Even the people who once admired him now kept their distance. He was untouchable, and that's when he realized he'd become a ghost in his own life. This brain hack, this psychological switch, had given him everything he wanted, but it had taken something far more valuable: his humanity. Because here's the truth no one tells you: when you train yourself to feel nothing, you stop feeling pain, but you also stop feeling love, joy, connection. Grief is gone, so is gratitude. Fear disappears, so does excitement. Regret fades, so does meaning. Daniel had mastered his mind, but in doing so, he had silenced his soul. And now, standing at the top of the world, he asked himself a question no amount of money could answer: was it worth it? Because the same switch that made him unstoppable also made him unrecognizable, even to himself. This is the hidden cost of the billionaire brain hack. It gives you control, but takes your heart. And once you cross that line, there may be no way back. Daniel didn't lose everything because he failed. He lost something far more fragile because he succeeded. The brain hack that billionaires use daily isn't magic. It's not some secret ritual or elite knowledge. It's a choice, a psychological shift that lets you detach from emotion, silence doubt, and move forward with cold clarity. And like any power, it can build empires or destroy lives. You might think this is just their world, that people like Daniel are wired differently. But what if I told you the wiring is already inside you? We all have the ability to control our minds, to choose what we feel and what we let go. This isn't about becoming a billionaire. It's about deciding who you want to become. Because every time you suppress fear, you gain strength. Every time you walk away from drama, you gain focus. Every time you stop reacting and start thinking, you change. But here's the warning, rewires. Once you start down this path, you won't recognize who you used to be. So, ask yourself, is that a good thing? Or is it a loss you'll only feel years from now? Because the real question isn't whether you can flip the switch. It's whether you're ready for the cost. This isn't about money, success, or even power. It's about identity. Who are you when no one is watching? And more importantly, who could you become if you stopped fearing the answer? Would you flip the switch, knowing it might change who you are at your core? Not just your habits, not just your mindset, but the very way you feel, the way people see you, the way you see yourself. This isn't about becoming a billionaire. It's about deciding how far you're willing to go for what you want, and whether you're ready to lose something to gain it. Drop a comment below. I want to hear from you. Would you use a brain hack that rewires your emotions but costs you pieces of who you are? Or would you rather stay human and keep fighting the same battles? Tell me your answer, because one day, you may face this choice for real, and when you do, you'll wish you'd thought about it today. Thanks for watching.